Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita in 18th chapter, and our verse number is 68. We are moving towards the conclusion of the Gita. But don't worry, I will begin again. Lord Krishna said to Arjuna that this teaching should not be given to those who are not practicing tapasya, austerity, disciplining the mind, body, action, and those who are not my devotees. And those who are not inclined to serve others, God in others, and those who have nasty things to say about me. To oppose God. I have explained to you, it's not to be taken literally. Otherwise all satsanga doors will be closed. Simple message is those things you have heard, they are obstacles to satsanga. And they have to be overcome by satsanga. So it's a negative advertisement. Now, coming now to the positive advertisement. That's joking, I'm joking. 68th verse. Ya imam paramam guhyam madbhakteshu abhidhasyati bhaktim mai param kritva mame vaishyatya sanshaya. He who enables my devotees to understand the teachings of this profound scripture, he, the best of my devotees, will doubtlessly attain me. The great importance is given in he who enables my devotees to understand the teachings. It's called dissemination of knowledge, called jnana yajna. First stage, as you practice sadhana, there comes a certain degree of maturity. You have gained something that you can share. As long as you have not come to that stage, don't share. So that first point is important. If you have not come to a stage of how to remove depression, dejection, and tamasic aspect of the mind that is always looking for negative things. But having attained a certain degree of maturity, now the best mantra for your quick evolution, or rather speedy and sustained evolution, is to share, to start speaking out. See that people around you are inspired by you. That also understand in a broad way. First, to take it literally, If you are studying Gita or certain spiritual material on mind and Kundalini or even Hatha Yoga, you share with people, help them, and as you begin to do, you begin to enrich yourself. Start even sharing pranayam, how to touch the nose, breathe in, hold, breathe out. Doing yourself, you are careless. But if you start doing with others, then you start counting. It's a broad way to understand. A teacher gets more benefited by giving teaching than the students. Therefore, if you are to acquire deep understanding, start becoming a teacher. Don't develop the idea, let me perfect myself, attain enlightenment, and then start teaching. If you have developed that idea, you are going to fall for a big mistake. You will misinterpret certain experience of yours as enlightened. And your teaching will be a perverted type of teaching. So he who enables my devotees to understand the teachings and understand this process as you get maturer and maturer, you not only teach by your words, but even greater than that teaching, by your example. In your words, you can give you a whole lecture about how not to be angry. But in action, you start losing your temper for nothing. Then that type of teaching will not have much effect. Also another point, suddenly you don't become perfect. As long as you recognize your error and you go on correcting it, that becomes itself an inspiring movement for others. So you're not defaulting simply because you slip for some reason. Coming to more mature level, the greatest good that you can do to a person is to enable the person to become independent of you. Seems contradictory. Enable the person to discover he is absolutely free, not dependent on anyone in the world, because he is one with God. So that's the greatest service that can be done to humanity. The greatest act of goodness. It has two aspects. Allow yourself to come towards God and inspire others to do the same. If that stage has come, then that's the ideal set of saintly teacher and wonderful satsanga. And whoever takes up this project of sharing, inspiring, it's a poetic way of saying, you become like the spirit of spring. And as the spring season comes in a forest, there is effervescence, there is a kind of thrill in everything of this forest. I'm leading you to a very high level. The idea is spiritual movement allows you to be inspired and allow others to be free of perspiration. And if you are doing that, then you have pleased God in the immense, in an intense manner. You are really a devotee of God. How do you please a mother? By pleasing the babies. God is a mother. It is a poetic way to understand. If you simply go on saying, oh, God, love you, love you, and the children are bothering me. Let them get away from me. You can't have real love with God. You work upon it. When you have gained that type of understanding, to grow on the path of spirituality and allow others, inspire others to grow, to ascend, to attain enlightenment, then you become dear to God. And if you are very dear to God, then you attain, you merge in God. Nacha tasmat manusyeshu kaschin me priyakrittamaha bhavita nacha me tasmat anya priyataro bhuvi. There is none among men who could render a more pleasing service to me than he, nor will there be in this world anyone dearer to me than him. That is, if you are, in a very technical term, if you are performing jnana yajna in a profound way, disseminating the knowledge that is given by sages, allowing that knowledge to touch the hearts of others, inspiring people to follow the path of integral yoga, how action can be done in the spirit of karma yoga. Every duty that you do is a part of a spiritual movement. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, your feelings, how they can be aligned to love of God. Your willing, that's called dhyana yoga. Your reasoning that follows the path of wisdom. I'm just detailing upon it. You have heard these. And when you practice Godward movement, all the four aspects blend in your personality. You may not highlight, you may highlight one of the four. Some people may say they are simply karma yogis, they don't want anything else. You say, I'm just bhakti. Mm-hmm. Another may say, I'm just want to meditate, nothing else. Another say, no, all the world is mithya. Brahman alone is. But no matter which one you highlight, other three is also you are practicing it. If you are not giving importance to it. In a very simple way of saying, in your body, you can highlight your feet. I love just believe in the health of my feet, your health of my hands. But then, your feeling is also involved. Your understanding is involved. Your concentration is involved in that book. So you You are always four-aspected. The yoga, divine movement is the integration of four aspects of yoga. And from a very broad point of view, the greatest good that you can do as a human being is to follow the path that leads you to enlightenment and inspire others to follow that path. In sadhana process, you intentionally create situations where you can share that knowledge. You create satsangas. Everyone has the possibility. Instead of inviting people for chit-chats, meaningless chit-chats, invite people for a little insight into Gita or little something elevating, prayer, kirtan, and invite children and tell them some spiritual parables. And when they are happy, see how your heart becomes happy. If that type of spirit enters into the families, imagine how much stress can be lifted from the head. And if people are not constantly pressured by stress, sorrow, they will have much more harmonious qualities that make life with harmony, peace, joyousness, goodness. But a mind that is constantly burdened by worries and anxieties, only thing that person is drawn to is called moha, a deluded type of attachment. Since nobody else is there to help you. Even the tiger's paw, you hold all trees. Don't leave me. I'm giving a crude way to understand. Moha. Adhyasyate chaya imam dharmyam sambadamavayo jnana yagyena tenaham ishtah syamiti me mati. He who will study this dialogue of ours, abounding in dharma, will be worshipping me by the sacrifice of wisdom. Jnana yajna. Such is my view. Yajna term is very important in all religions. In Hindu religion, the word is Sanskrit word yajna. Yajna implies, first literally it is sacrifice. But sacrifice is a process of sublimating. If you have anger, anger works like an animal. Touch the animal, sacrifice it, put it in the fire, and then eat it. I've given a very crude picture. But that's how masses understand sacrifice. In all religions, from ancient times, and even presently, people are not all free. Whenever they have sacrificed, they always think of sacrificing animals. But that's completely dull-wit interpretation. The animal in you is anger, hate, greed. And how to sublimate that, that's called yajna. By the performance of a yajna, you allow the lower self to be sublimated. Higher self blossoms. Just to give you some different variations of yajna that Lord Krishna has explained before. Sharing your wealth, that's called dravya yajna. Giving material charity. Disciplining your body, mind and speech. That's called tapo yajna. That also is yajna because your personality is constantly radiating. If you are eating only onion and garlic, you radiate onion and garlic. So even though you are not consciously doing anything, you are radiating, positive or negative. So this point has to be understood, that keeping yourself healthy and joyous is a vital aspect of serving humanity around you. Otherwise, spoil everything wherever you go. Yoga yajna, allowing your mind to be calm. Practice of equanimity. Swadhyaya yajna, taking up a project of studying the whole scripture like Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga Sutras, Brahma Sutras, Upanishads, whatever. You take up a project and you continue. That's called Swadhyaya yajna. And Jnana yajna, which I have been already explaining, whatsoever you have learned, as you begin to share with the focus on allowing every soul to discover its resources, not be dependent on you. Every soul to realize its link to God, and thereby every soul to be inspired to attain devotion and liberation. Gift of freedom. And that's the highest yajna. When your activity, your karma, blends with yajna, then karma does not create bondage for you. Karma creates purity of heart and allows you to move towards liberation. That point we have explained in an algebraical way. Karma plus vikarma is akarma. Karma, actions, a special attitude that becomes yajna. Karma is blended with yajna. The moment you do that, karma plus vikarma, akarma. Your soul is not going to be bonded with karma. Free of karma, the soul becomes enlightened, realizes, I am the Absolute. Adhyasyate cha ya imam dharmyam sambadamavayo jnana yajnena tenaham ishtah syamiti me matihi. He who will study this dialogue for hours, abounding in dharma, will be worshipping me by the sacrifice of wisdom. Such is my view. To become a channel of Jnana Yajna, to be the teacher of Jnana Yajna, allowing others to be benefited by Jnana, that's the highest form of worshipping God. Worshipping God starts in the very early stage. Anything you want and you worship God. Sometimes people evolve whole mathematical precision. If I do 1,000 malas, I'm going to gain something. It's kindergarten religion. Even that divine plan pats you, encourages you. But if you gain profound knowledge. Gaining knowledge, that requires constant swadhyaya. Suppose you have studied the whole Gita and you begin to study again. You will find new insights developing. The importance of abhyasa. Life presents situations where same experience is repeated again and again and again. Unawares, you are doing abhyasa to maintain misery. Unawares. But unawares or awares, abhyasa has its effect. That when you study scriptures, you are doing counter abhyasa, not abhyasa for intensifying misery, but abhyasa to remove misery, not getting into ignorance, moving away from ignorance. Let me give you some of these points. Study relates to allowing your mind to digest what you are studying, called chintan. Not just to keep in your mind as data. But tomorrow is examination, I must remember all these. But chintan is just like you eat something and you are assimilating it. Another level of chintan is called manan. It changes your mind, brings a change within your mental structure. Your samskaras, impressions begin to change. Your subtle desires begin to change. And you enjoy, just like a tree has received good nutrition. It's growing. Its trunk is receiving nutrition. Its branches are receiving nutrition. Leaves, blossoms, all begin to receive nutrition. That's called Chintana Manan. As a result of Chintana Manan, what happens? You begin to succeed in maintaining the mind in a focused state. Success in dhyana. And a subtle mystic process of enjoying God's love, called bhakti. When bhakti enters, your spiritual progress becomes perfectly secure. But if bhakti doesn't enter, if your feeling aspect of your heart remains crude, ugly, cruel, spiritual enlightenment is far. Also, at the same time, you have to understand people have their own delusional concept of devotion. If devotion doesn't bring about a divinely tender heart, I said divinely, so that you understand your tenderness should not be for the smallest thing of the world. Someone shows you a lot of money, so I'm so tender about it. So in this Jnana Yajna movement, all these points, you do chintan, manan, assimilate it, dhyana develops in your mind, bhakti enters your heart. Once you begin to enjoy the taste of Godward movement, then you begin to develop vairagya. Vairagya, that type of taste, is not possible in rajasic groups of people, lots of gossips, lot of stressful news breaking from every corner. So, giving a simple way to understand. If you have come to a healthy style of life and you enjoy it, now there are so many temptations to make you to follow unhealthy style of life. They don't attract you. You don't fight with them, they don't attract you. And you are not missing. That's the nature of mature Vairagya. You do not fall for all surface type of illusions, delusional joy and delusional associations. But you begin to develop a qualitative type of life. And deep down in your heart, you begin to develop a deeper understanding that you live not to come back in the cycle of birth and death. As long as you are fascinated by a worldly goal, you have to come into the world to enjoy that goal. And worldly goal is not permanent. It's transient and illusory. By the time you get the goal, you realize you are just in a hole. You are not really have gotten anything. So that's called, along with Vairagya comes Vivek. They go together. And while all this goes on, your energy moves in doing good to others, that may not be intentional on your part, but you can't help it. Spiritual movement is a contagious movement. If people get a little glimpse of spirituality, it enters into them like mystic bacteria. And there is no remedy to get rid of it. It is a blessing. So life becomes filled with these most interesting highlights of joy, chintan. Something good you are working upon. Not counting money, how it is going to imply, that's what people do chintan. What is the state of the bank declarations? But it's a divine chintan, manan, and living the life deeply involved in dissemination of knowledge, jnana yajna. If you do that, you are rendering greatest service to the whole world. It is not related to any country, any particular portion of the world. It is not conditioned by time either. You become a source of understanding. That understanding is, think of all the teachings given by Jesus, teachings given by Buddha, teachings of Krishna, all these are eternal. They are not limited to time. And this is a picture of worshipping God constantly. Live your life in the spirit of worshipping God. So far, Krishna emphasized the importance of one who teaches. What happens by teaching? Now we come to what happens when you listen. Bhakta Shrota. Shraddhavanan suyascha shruniyadapi yo nara sopi muktah shubhan lokan prapnu yat punya karmanam. Those who are endowed with faith and are free from jealousy will, upon hearing this dialogue, become free of sins and will attain the higher worlds that are attained by men of righteous deeds. First point that draws you to listening the teachings, your innate faith. Everyone has potential faith. We are born with Shraddha. Therefore, look at the eyes of the mother, one question, who are you? It's faith. We are born with faith. And there is subtle inclination of the soul to realize its essential nature. And satsanga allows that faith to become vibrant. So, satsanga and practice of integral yoga in life, the Raj Yoga gives you the sutra, Shraddha Virya. Faith becomes so powerful that you are amazed. So we say that faith moves mountains. And mountains of difficulties and problems, once your faith begins to develop strength, they blown away like cotton fibers blowing in the wind. But lack of faith, like moisture entering the cotton fibers, and all settling into the mind. Two ways of understanding. Same cotton, saturated with water, becomes a big load. Take the water away from it, it blows away. Faith blows it away. Lack of faith sucks in lots of moisture. And as a result of this, Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, human mind always enjoys remembering things. Nothing else to do. And if you have not trained yourself well, then as you age, your mind gravitates to smallest little things of your past, and you go on remembering them. That becomes a kind of negative abhyasa, unawares. Even when you come to another level of memory, when you start studying scriptures, learn about law of karma, and you hear about certain people with psychic powers who recollect their past lives. And some people even tempt you that they can tell your past life. And they make up these stories. But even that is a big distraction. You really recall, I am a ray of God. Oh, that's the reality of it. Every soul, think of ordinary illustration of a water in a pot. In that water, the sun is reflected in that water. Every reflected sun, if it were to recall, who am I? The sun. The real recall is not the jar, not the water, not the fishes, and so forth. Real recall, I am that. So when you develop that recall movement, your mind begins to understand not the body, not the bodily relations, not the problems of the past and expectations of future. Calmness, melody of eternity, that mystic swan, I am related to God. That again is, I'm just building a poetic way. I am that. But this recollection has its sequence, gradual movement, progressive movement. To whatever degree you have that recollection, to that degree you find yourself progressing in a mysterious way. You find the hand of God with you. You are amazed how things move away and grant your wishes in a surprising way. So behind that, there is that recall movement coming, progressing, until you become deeply involved and a profound trust develop in your heart that you can never fail. Adopting the path of sadhana, you are not going to miss anything that the world promises to give you. You are going to attain the goal. And the goal, while reading scriptures, seems to be extremely difficult. But when you move towards it, the question difficult doesn't arise. God is always, ever present reality. And with this I'm going to conclude now. Though we are close to the Gita, but it takes time and I don't want to rush it. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukam Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritam Gamaya Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Hari Om.